And now, Hallmark Playhouse, presenting Rumor Garden's A Breath of Air, starring Sarah Churchill.
Everyone at some time or another has visited an island, or had an island of his own, a coral island, a desert island, a treasure or Swiss Family Robinson Island, an island of the mind. So said Mr. Van Loomis, who, with his young daughter, found his island in the Pacific, an island called Terraqueous. Small, fragrant, inhabited by a people who had lived there in peace for centuries, this little, lovely island, Terraqueous.
When I think of Terraqueous, I remember mornings. I remember my father and me sitting in the garden, with the voices of the natives and the sea and the wind blending like a symphony in our ears. I remember the squirrels running up and down the trees, and the breeze scattering a golden windfall of acacia flowers on the grass. I remember the begonia creepers swaying and stirring, and an occasional school of porpoises diving under and out of the water. Yes, when I think of Terraqueous, I remember beauty. But I also remember discontentment and an uneasy feeling of being lonely and not knowing for who or for what I was lonely. And I remember how, the spring that I was 20, my father's voice suddenly became an irritation in my ears. Father, what's that?
Why, that's an airplane, and it seems to be in trouble. I've got to call them in.
I was alone on the beach when I saw the stranger coming towards me. It was like a moment held in time. The sun shone, the white sand stretched silently beyond him. Even the sea seemed quiet and breathless. Father and I walked down the beach towards Bob Doubleday and his friend McGinty. And now the sea pounded in my ears with all the excitement of new music heard for the first time. And I had all I could do to keep from running down the beach to meet them. How ordinary our conversation was that day. How extraordinary were my emotions as I listened. I heard my father say,
We don't allow strangers on this island.
In the days that followed, I showed our island to Bob. I took him to the native villages where he watched the people at work. I took him to their festivals. He swam along our beaches. He climbed our mountains. He sat at the edge of our cliffs at sunrise and sunset. And gradually, I saw the island weave its spell about him.
Oh, my world is made up of cities, of electric lights, of buildings taller than these cliffs, and then of narrow streets jammed with automobiles and taxi cabs, of dust and gasoline fumes, mechanical devices. Well, I can turn a knob and hear someone sing thousands of miles away. Well, this couldn't be making much sense to you.
No one ever told me I was beautiful before.
Well, you are beautiful. Beautiful.
No one ever kissed me before.
Strange, I don't feel as though I ever kissed anyone before.
Zola! Zola!
Yes, Neil?
Yes? I thought you were in bed asleep hours ago.
I couldn't sleep. I came out here to think. I'm lonelier now. Oh, Father, I'm lonelier now.
days that Charis was to remember forever went on. And now she was remote, distant with Bob. McGinty went out to the lighthouse night after night, sending his message for help out into the blackness. And during the day, he wandered disconsolately around the island.
It was night when Neil brought me the news. I'd been walking across the island, and I ran back. And it seemed as though there were leaden weights on my feet and on my heart. I didn't know which American it was until I reached the house.
Those are the ceremonial drums. The natives are asking their gods to spare the life of your friend.
San Francisco. Oh, it's so hot. I thought there'd be fog in San Francisco. This is as hot as that cursed island.
Lie still. You must lie still.
Poor McGinty. Seems strange that I could ever have thought this was a beautiful spot.
Come in.
So we left Syracuse. Bob, McGinty, father. We rode on gleaming wings back to the civilized world. I alone watched the island disappear below us. And then I went up to the front of the plane and sat beside Bob and put my hand in his. And Bob turned to me and said, I looked at Bob, and I thought, Father, you said it better before he arrived. You said then, when the pupil is ready, the teacher will come. I looked at Bob, and as I'd once whispered to myself, welcome, the Terrakian, I now whispered, welcome to my heart.
Was composed and conducted by Bernard Herrmann.